I've been collecting AliExpress watches for a couple years now, and it's definitely been an interesting journey. On one end, I've been excited about a new watch to then get a bit disappointed. And on the other end, I've bought a watch I didn't expect much from and was pleasantly surprised. There's the good and the bad on AliExpress, but there are many brands that get it right. And when it comes to watches in the $50 price range, one of my favorite brands is Tandorio. I currently own 3 of their watches, and I think they land on the pleasantly surprised end of the spectrum. One detail that I really appreciate about their watches is they come with or without their logo. One of the most common complaints about Ali watches, or Chinese watches in general, is their names, and seeing it written across the dial. Depending on the brand name, this really isn't an issue with me, but I do naturally gravitate towards the more sterile dials. The first Tandorio I ever purchased was their classic pilot watch. What caught my eye was the fact that for less than $50, it had all the right specs we see on much more expensive watches, and I wasn't able to resist getting it. It's a simple, minimalist design, and it's the details that make it stand out. The 316L stainless steel case is fully brushed, with some cool horizontal brushing on the sides and circular brushing on the tops of the lugs. It's not Sam Martin level, of course, but nonetheless, it looks really great and definitely helps elevate the watch. On top is a fixed brush bezel that's just the right size. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about it being a little smaller than the length of the case and not sitting flush, but it creates a step-down design that actually works to its advantage. It creates another level and a separation where the case meets the bezel. More depth, more visual appeal. On the back, there's a simple screw-down case back. It gets the job done and offers plenty of protection. I also really like how the lugs slope downward just a bit, helping to wrap around the wrist nicely. This is definitely a comfortable watch to wear with great size of 39mm in diameter and 12.2mm in thickness. Overall, the case has a nice design and a great style for an everyday watch. As much as I was surprised by the quality of the case, it was really the dial that caught me off guard. The white hour markers and numerals are not just printed, but filled with plenty of lume to make them stand up above the dial, giving it a lot more depth. They're super easy to read and legibility is on point. The black dial isn't fully matte or glossy. It's balanced right in between the two and plays with light reflections, just a smidge, adding to the appeal. The hands have that classic pilot watch design in a syringe style format. They are bright white and make legibility crystal clear. They are also filled with the same application of lume that's found across the dial, so everything matches really nicely. One feature I really like is how the space between the dial and the crystal is thin, which not only helps keep the watch with a nice profile, but gives the design a cleaner look. In general, the lume isn't crazy bright or will win any awards, but it does get the job done. Inside the watch, powering the little engine, is a Seiko NH35 automatic movement. The watch is rated for 200 meters of water resistance, and although I'll likely never test that in real life, I've not experienced any issues, and the crown does screw down, helping to keep the seal tight. There's also a sapphire crystal, which is quite thick and has a clear anti-reflective coating, making legibility as good as it gets. The price does fluctuate a little bit on AliExpress, but it's usually around $45 before any discounts. A really amazing price. Once I realized Tandorio was the real deal, I had to get another one I think is their most stylish watch. It's also a diver, which is my favorite style. The design is so darn cool, really unique, and a refreshing departure from the common, sub-inspired dive watch. There's a bit of an old-school vintage charm that has so many cool little details that make it special. The bezel has 2 parts to it. There's a brushed steel section, and next to it, a black ceramic insert. They look really awesome together, and not something we see often. Rotating the timing bezel is just straight up fun. It uses a spring-loaded design and really feels like a tool. The bezel sits on top of a really interesting case. It's brushed on top and on the sides, but there's a thicker polished chamfer that gives the watch a more premium look and helps break up the case. The slightly oversized crown is a nice touch that makes setting the time and winding easy and gives a little bit more of that tool watch aesthetic. The measurements are 39.8mm in diameter by 13.8 in thickness. Like the case, the dial is also unique. The green lume-filled hour markers look really awesome in person and goes well with the black colorway. There's a little splash of red text that matches the red on the bezel and adds welcome contrast. The hands have a cool arrow shape and have a polished finish. Everything flows and works together in harmony. It comes on a 3-link bracelet that does feature a butterfly clasp. The links are polished in the center and brushed on the outside. It's very solid, definitely comfortable, and works well with the overall style of the watch. I do love black leather straps, so that is what I usually wear on this watch. Either way, it's a great timepiece, and it's powered by the high-beat PT5000 automatic movement. After discounts, the price can be in the high 50s or low 60s. Then the third Tandorio I decided to buy was kind of a late-night random purchase that initially I was going to use for watch parts to do modding, but I liked it so much I decided to just keep it as is. Like the two other watches, this one comes in a variety of colors, but simple me always goes for black. What really stood out about the design was how it kind of looks like a hybrid watch. The case has a rugged tool watch design, and then the dial is more refined, bordering dressy. It creates a cool look that makes the watch quite versatile. I'm pretty certain the case on this watch is the same found on the Pilot watch we looked at just a bit ago. Nothing wrong with that, and common for Ali brands to use parts on multiple watches. I like the case a lot, so it works for me. Just as a refresh, the case is 39mm in diameter and 12.2 in thickness. Fully brushed, horizontal brushing, downward sloping lugs, and a solid case back. The dial is what did draw me in. I would say the black finish has more of a matte execution and almost slightly grainy texture. It's definitely not flat, which helps give it a little more dimension. It's another simple, minimalist design with nice attention to details. The Tandorio logo is applied and polished. The date window has a polished framing, and the arrow markers are a bit chunky and also polished, and what looks to be beveled around the edges. They really pop in person, hit the light beautifully, and legibility is great. On top of the dial sits the polished hands that do have a little bit of lume if that's important for you. Powering the watch is the go-to Seiko NH35 automatic movement. My experience with this caliber is it can be a little hit or miss. Some have been very accurate, while others have been within their specs of -20 to +40 seconds per day. I don't know about all of you, but whenever I check the time, I use my phone anyways, so as weird as that sounds, I don't use my watches for timekeeping. For me, it's more about wearing a cool watch and enjoying the different designs. The price of this model is $54. I'd say for me, Tandorio is 3 for 3, and I wear the watches often and never really had any issues with any of them. The water resistance stands up to swimming, and there's been no foggy dials. The steel bracelets and leather straps they come on are comfy and built well. It's definitely wild how $50 could get you a really nice case, sapphire crystal, auto movement, and nice details on the dial. I love Seiko, but their entry-level automatics use hard Lex and priced around $300. But that's the big appeal about AliExpress watches, their value and bang for buck. They do get a bit of a bad rep in certain sections of the watch community for the copycat homages, but aside from the dive watch, the two Pilot watches I own are simple designs, and I wouldn't say any one brand owns that design, or known for that look. At the end of the day, no one really cares or notices what watch you're wearing, so wear what you like. That's all for today's video. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.